music has its own uniqueness. And when I tell you about business towards it, it has another perspective itself. So with me is this very, very pretty lady who started her own business when it comes to music. Welcome to the show, ma'am. And also, when we talk about music itself, there is a huge platform and huge scope for this. And today we're going to learn so much more when it comes to music business and also how she got inspired. Bindu Subramaniam has not only done what is impossible, but she has also achieved in many more ways. And she's also going to inspire all of you. So we're going to start off by one simple question: what inspired her to do this? So as we get onto the platform of business itself, ma'am, and when we think about passion, including business, what is your take on inspiration towards this?
Well, I think my first inspiration obviously is coming from a family of musicians, right? So I've always been surrounded by music. I've always been listening to music, but I never thought of music as business, right? I always thought of music as performance. But what kind of moved me towards the idea of music business was a bit more organic, and it's things that I realized that I was good at and I enjoyed doing. And I started doing more of it. So Mark Cuban very famously recently said, don't follow your passion, follow your effort, because you'll work hard at things that you're good at, and that's where you're going to succeed. So maybe that's what I'd say.
What is the most important thing about music to you?
I think music has the ability to spread joy, and it has the ability to just break down differences between people. So I remember this instance of when we were traveling. My daughter was 3 or 4 years old, and we were on a plane from London to Bangalore, and the air hostesses or the in-flight attendants on that flight spoke, English, Arabic, Swahili, and my daughter was so excited, saying that, oh my God, there's a person that speaks Swahili, because she had learned a Swahili song as part of SaPa. And she just hopped up as soon as the seatbelt sign was off to go and find that person. And she sang that song to her. And I think that's a great example of how powerful music is. It just makes you connect with people. And it's such an honest, authentic form of communication, and it makes you happy. So that's really, I think, the crux of why music is important for everyone.
I mean, that has a lot of scope also when it comes to therapy. So we all know that music is very soothing and people have their choices and preferences. What is your preferences when it comes to music, and what do you like the most?
I think what kind of music I listen to really depends on my mood. I mean, there are times when I want to listen to very soft, classical, meditative violin, music, instrumental violin, my dad's compositions. There are times when I want to listen to like emo rock, and there are times when, I'm singing really loud along with Taylor Swift. So it really kind of depends on the mental space that I'm in, and I find music to match that, or I find music to match the space that I'd like to be in.
So I know when we are like traveling and everything, there's a particular music for that, and when you're all like excited, you have a different music. Yeah. So when it comes to your idol, or when it comes to a person like you would prefer to listen over and over, who is that?
I think that changes a lot. Right now, I would say I'm in a phase where I listen to a lot of my dad's music because it's very meditative and very reflective in the evenings. There have been times when I would listen to Mariah Carey nonstop. So I think it's through phases, yeah.
So since you keep telling about your dad, I want my audience also to know about this. Please tell me something more about your dad that inspires you the most.
So my dad is the violinist, Dr. L. Subramaniam, and I think one of the things that he did that was absolutely early, ahead of his time, was kind of being open-minded to different styles of music, because in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, kind of being a classical musician and also being open to Western music, also being open to jazz, also being open to global music was unheard of. So kind of being open-minded and working in different fields was one thing. But what inspires me about him every day is just his propensity for hard work. He works harder than anyone else I know, even now at the age of 75. He's just going, he's traveling, he's composing, he's performing. So that's a great inspiration for me.
Now, I would also want you to tell my audience about your mum, because we all have heard her songs at least once, or I would have even performed dance for that.
Of course, we all have in school. My mother is Kavita, Krishnamurthy, the Bollywood singer. And I think, again, what I love about her is her ability to just kind of hear a song that somebody else has composed in a different language, maybe even a language that she doesn't know, and kind of own it and make it something very emotive and very personal in like 5 minutes. And I think that that's a very, very unique skill set to be able to do that, to take somebody else's composition and somebody else's words and really emote for an actor so people will feel what you want them to feel.
Which is your favorite song?
Of hers, I love quite a lot of her songs. I think Nimbuda is a lot of fun.
Oh my God, yeah.
I love Pyar Hua Chupke Se. That I think is another gorgeous song. I love everything that she sings, really. I think
she's Badi Hai Mast also. So when it comes to the fun side of music, what do you think is the most fun side of music in your, like you keep teaching kids, you see the way the entire thing runs, the management and everything. Which do you think is the fun part?
I think working with kids is so much fun because they surprise you every single day with their perspectives, with their ideas, so sometimes you could be doing a songwriting class with 4 or 5-year-olds and they'll want to, write a song about dinosaurs or trucks, and anything can just become a reason to laugh. So I think working with young people is always the most surprising and most fun aspect.
So when we talk about the fun side, there's always a challenging side as well. So what do you think is the challenge?
The challenging side, I think, with any business is kind of working on business processes and operations and getting into like scaling and things like unit economics and how to make sure your ship is sailing. I think those are the challenging parts, sometimes the boring parts, but they're very, very important.
Yeah, over time, like when you're like scaling up with the business, you realize that challenges is the most important thing. Like I can see individually also, like when you're a singer, you keep seeing that you get different types of songs, emotions into it, and then you have to keep like changing towards it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So have you found the difficulty when it comes to different types of musics, or were you easily or smoothly able to flow through the different types of musics or emotions that you had to sing through them?
I think it's important to be able to represent your mood through music or represent music through your mood. So one is the intention of the song as it was written, and the other is what you're putting into it based on what you're feeling there. I've been fortunate to have some great musicians that I work with, so it's always very collaborative on stage, and I think a lot of emotion comes through that spontaneousness, and it's also a lot of fun to see, how you can interpret a song differently every time.
I even know that you work with celebrities and everything. So is it an easy job when you are like with them to convince them to work with you or hold on a class for you and even suggest the way that you will have to take over your business and everything? Is it easy, or is it like I'm new to this, so how do I like convince them?
I've been very fortunate that some of the celebrities and the really big names that we've had an opportunity to work with have been so open-minded and so giving. And I think that's a really powerful thing when you meet somebody who's absolutely at the top of their game, who's achieved everything, who instead of being arrogant is open-hearted and willing to give back. So it's always such an amazing learning experience to interact with those people and work with them and learn from them.
I mean, that's really convincing for us, because for us, as soon as we see new people or like celebrity range, we'll be like, okay, how do we tell them? Am I telling them right? But that's easy for you. Like you said, you're fortunate enough to do that. I really am so happy talking to you, but I would also want you to give some advice and take on how you have started your business, and how would you advise the young crowd who wants to start this business?
I think if you want to start a business, really think about, like you said, the difficult portions of it. And if you are passionate about getting up every day and working hard on the toughest parts of it, then do it. If you're thinking about the most exciting part of it, the red carpet, the winning the awards, the winning thing, 99% of your job is not that. So if you're willing to put in the hard work on the ugly parts, go ahead and make sure that you're putting in the work every single day, because you have to move every single day if you want to be successful.
I remember your daughter also telling you this, and then the day you came and told me this, I was also like, yeah, like nobody wants to look at the successful side, or nobody wants to look what happened at the back and the hard work and everything. They just look at the glam and everything. Like you said, there is so much to intake by the toddlers there and the young ones who are like coming up in this generation. I would also want you to tell me that one small bit, that have you ever felt that this business is actually causing you something that is not giving you a peaceful mind and I should be stopping?
Actually, no, because I think the great thing about being in music education is that you're never too far from kids, and it's really hard to be unhappy when you've got kids. And so whenever there's a portion that's really stressful or really hard and it feels insurmountable, then it helps to take a breath, take a step back, and then think about who you're doing it for at the end of the day. So I haven't yet, touch wood, reached that place where I think that this is too much, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, because the only reason I asked you that question is because most of us in the present growing generation think that, okay, fine, I'm not ready to take a couple of stress, or I'm not able to go through all of this. And that's where they stop. And that's where I want to inspire them that stopping is not the great thing, or giving up is not a great thing. Like we've seen a lot of successful people, including you. I want them also to get inspired by all this.
I think it's up to you where you decide to stop your story, right?
Yeah.
Because there are ups and downs, and sometimes when you think you're really far down, you can choose to end that part of the story there, or you can wait until you come back up. So, I mean, sometimes it's just about kind of pushing through and powering through and finding that support around you and just having the belief that it will get better, because it has to.
What motivates you every day?
I would say my daughter and my cats. I wake up and then there's a lot of craziness and silliness and joy, and that's a good reason to be up and about.
That's very common for both of us, because even I am a pet lover, and then you're going to think
Perfect.
about everything. Thank you so much, ma'am. This was a pleasure talking to you and getting to know that you actually inspired a lot of us, including me, because the entire course that I was sitting, I was like, she's got a lot to tell people about. Like, there is so much to learn.
That's really kind of you, and it's been a joy talking to you as well.
Thank you so much. So likewise, we also heard her take as well as what you choose to do ahead when it comes to business. There are so many of us out there waiting to get inspired by people like this, and whom we idolize and see what is best for us. And the way that they have come up in life can also set new goals for all of us. Talking to her and the way she tells about the fun aspects of her life when it comes to music, there is brighter future for so many of you if you got the same talent. Do not forget to also download our app, because you can get to listen to her more and more when it comes to this entire part of music business, because she's going to tell you everything in detail, all the way from scratch till the end. The way she scaled up, the way she built the team, and the way she also went aboard with the schools. You can also understand more and more about this business in our app, which does not only tell you about business, as well as it tells about the financial backbone for every business. We have even courses on that, along with organic farming, which teaches you more and more about farming as well. And that's a wrap on this video. Thank you so much. Get wise and break free.